All right.
Hello. So y'all all have heard about germs, worms, toxic chemicals. Well, what I just mentioned, they are all present in water throughout the world, and they might some be present in the water you drink. So, water is a basic need that links us all together, and it's something that has to be clean, and it's a basic need that everyone needs. I recently saw a video on Facebook about a woman testing the pH of the water bottles. Only 4 out of 12 water bottles had the normal balance, which made me wonder, why is that? So having clean water is crucial because a normal person needs 20 to 50 liters of water a day. So why do we need clean water? We need food and water in everyday life. So water is one of the basic needs that has to be clean. Big corporate companies are a big factor about it, because in a study by Jasmine Snyder, in an article Troubled Waters by Jasmine Snyder, she states that in Ringwood, New Jersey, the Ford Motor Company dumps 35 tons of toxic chemicals into the land, which makes the water toxic. And after they have stopped dumping the water, after 43 years when they stop dumping the water, it's still toxic, and the citizens of New Jersey are affected by it. Not only it affects everyone, but it does affect everyone, but it also causes diseases. One of the diseases caused by it is called gum. It's a skin disease which is caused by the uric acid lingering in our body. It also causes many other diseases or illness, such as headache, and many more. The basic 5 needs of our life is air, water, shelter, sleep, and food. A normal human can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. But a normal human can survive 3 days without water, but imagine about the people who has a big immune system because of the powdered water. Their 3 days cuts down to only 1.5 days. If you guys don't know, the normal human body is contained of 60% of water, which is more than half of our body. And water is a big essential of our life. In a study by Alex Wheeler, it states that in India, the normal population spends 70 cents to buy 50 liters of water, which is half of their daily income, which is not affordable. So they turn back to the lake water, which is highly polluted or has very harmful germs and stuff. So they turn back to their other outcome, which is not helpful, which causes 140,000 deaths a year. But we may think, oh, we're in the US and water is clean. That is not the case, because although California was the first state to declare the law that all the citizens have right to clean, safe, affordable, and clean water, that has not happened, because in a study by San Diego City, it says that 300 million communities in California are still struggling from clean water because they had to deal with the suppliers and not all of them get clean water. And so 11.5 million people still rely on the suppliers with the germs water versus getting clean water. And we might be thinking like, well, how can it change? Like, we cannot do something big about it unless one of us is willing to, but it's like, we can try with a small thing. We can start not throwing our batteries or trash or everything flushing down or somewhere, just throwing on the water, a lake or something, because that is affecting someone. So we can start from our own by sealing the lithium part of the battery before throwing it away. And you do not have to throw it away. You can just put it on the, if you live in a house, you have to just put it on your black trash can in a Ziploc sealed with the one side of the battery, and whoever picks the trash will take the recycle. And if you live in an apartment, you can just put it near your orange trash can. So it's not going somewhere where it's polluting the water or where it's affecting someone. So even if it's the law of the US, not everyone's getting clean water, so let's not rely on that and make our side helpful as much as possible, because everything we do is affecting one or someone else. So let's cut it down and help people get cleaner water, because when we have the chance, why make someone suffer? Thank you.
All right, Yui, what did you think?
I thought that she had a very interesting topic, along with some good evidence and examples, but the problem with your speech was that your body movements and your hand gestures just kind of displayed your nervousness a lot. You were stumbling on your words a lot too, throughout your speech. And also, in the beginning, for a while, you were just kind of clinging onto your arm and also like swaying back and forth. And yeah, like I said, it just kind of displayed your nervousness. But all in all, I think you had a good topic, and I think you concluded the speech pretty well too.
Okay, I think the subject's an important topic, and I think that you identified the notion that clean water isn't readily available the way it ought to be as your purpose statement. Proving that, I think you have a few good examples. I do think that you need to structure it a little bit more, because you've got the information that you're presenting in kind of a random way. We've got the New Jersey example, which I couldn't make sense of. It sounded like you were talking about something that happened years ago and they're still affected by it, so that's a little unclear. Then you mention India, where people, they have to spend a huge amount of money, half their incomes to get clean water, but they can't really afford that, so mostly they end up using the water that's available that's not clean. And then in California, this was one that was confusing. We got 300 million communities that are struggling with this. I'm going, that's a lot of communities. That's a lot more than we have people here. That's 10 times as many people that we have here. And then it's 11 million people have to get water from companies that's, have germs in their water. And I'm just going, Yeah, this needs to be clearer. I think you've got information here, but it needs to be put together in a way that makes a little bit more sense. You could say you expect, for instance, in places in other parts of the world where maybe the water systems aren't as developed or aren't as efficient or are expensive, that people might be suffering. And then use the example of India, where they have water that's available, but it's too expensive for some people to afford, so they have to rely on the water that's not particularly safe. And then you could say, and of course we have a history of water being polluted here in the United States. Here's this thing that happened in New Jersey, and they're still suffering from that. But even in a place like California, where we have laws that guarantee us a right and access to clean water, we run into these problems because we have a third of our citizens have to get water from these companies, and we know that these companies have problems with their water, and here's the proof that there's problems with their water. So I think you've got information in here that would make this into a more efficient speech, but it needs to be kind of put together and structured a lot more effectively so that you're not wandering around on the subject. At the beginning of the speech, you went through the importance of water a half dozen times. I'm going, I think we got it, and then you kind of come back to it at the end, and I do appreciate that because it is important to resell that idea, but you don't want to, belabor the point. Presentation issues, sometimes the pacing's awkward. I know I can see that you're struggling to remember something, and there are a couple of spots where it's clear that you've forgotten something or can't get the next word out. I thought you did the right thing by just going on. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes it's a bigger deal to draw attention to it than it is to just keep going. But your eye contact, of course, is affected by that as well. So it probably needs more organization. It needs more practice in presentation, and you'd be a lot more certain about how you came across that. Thank you.